It's a good day. This is like the icing on the cake.
It is like the icing on the cake, and we are live here, brand new episode online here of our hashtag Scarif live event. How is everybody doing? As you can see, we've got a very interesting logo up on screen. Thank you guys for joining us here in the chat. We got Brad and Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. And looks like the room is filling up. And I know Cam has been here since probably, 10:30 today, this morning?
Camping out.
Camping out, yeah. He's remember back in the 90s when you camped out to go see Star Wars Episode 1?
That's straight fanboy style. That's classic.
That is classic. And Cam Ray, I hope you had your, protein shake. Your what else do you need on camp out like that? You need a lawn chair. And
I didn't bring protein shakes.
And your Doritos, you got your lawn chair, your Doritos, and what else you got? And a glass jar, because nobody's going to let you into a restroom.
It's called a Mountain Dew bottle.
You're going to need your
Mountain Dew bottle. Glass
jar. So let's bring in our beautiful faces now that you got your camera fixed. That's really, really great. Yeah. I'm really, really proud of you.
You said camera and beautiful face at the same time. I don't think those go together. But yeah, one button away, Google Chrome, and it works.
Excellent. So. Yeah. So a little situation there with your camera.
I mean, technical difficulties. You were right. You suggested last time about asking my kids for help. And it was my daughter that suggested
see?
This one button. So yeah, they had the solution.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Good to go now.
Yeah, so good to go. We got some people in the green room before we bring them out. What is that you're drinking there, Brad?
Some French vanilla coffee.
Out
of my people are going to give me a hard time. It's a something about liberal tears, but don't take that the seriously. There was a going away gift for my my last command, the submarine I was on, as a gag gift.
That's okay. I'm a salty justice warrior.
So, the president has graced us with his presence for this Red5 network exclusive
announcement. Hey, we got Matt Vader 74 from the Salty Nerds. Speaking of Salty Nerds, we got one of the top honchos of the Salty Nerd podcast over there, Matt Vader 74. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Again, part of our Red5 network. We are ready to go. It's been quite a busy couple of months, really, gearing up for this day, May 4th, 2020. The gang's all here, man. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I mean, this is something you and I have been talking about. I think we talked about wanting to do the podcast, and then shortly thereafter, you know what? We need to get other podcasts that are, not think just like us, but enjoy Star Wars the same way we do. And so this idea has been out there since we launched the Scarif, and it's awesome to see it come to fruition, especially on we started with Star Wars Celebration Chicago, and
that's correct.
For you to make this happen on Star Wars Day today, it's an amazing thing.
It's very exciting. It's very humbling. Just the sheer support of everybody that has been on our show and have asked us to be on their show as well. It's been quite a ride, and this is just the beginning. So I just want to read a little something, and then ask you a question at the end. So a long time ago in a galaxy not so far away, the Scarif podcast, we were lucky enough to meet and interact with many other podcast partners from our very first mega crossover partnership with the folks over at Coruscant Radio Underground, who are here in the green room, and I'll bring them out as soon as we can, to our multi-camera partnerships with folks like Rob over at GTA, one of our favorites, and others, plus a big thanks to Alex over at the Salty Nerd Podcast for joining Team Scarif when duty called for it, and really appreciate all of our fellow podcasters. So we brought together a team of fun and creative and brave podcasters that echo our own thoughts, but not 100%, of course. Otherwise, we're just sitting in an echo chamber talking to each other. So what's the point of that? We may be similar in voice, but each of us have our own unique point of view, and that is really what makes it all worth it. Makes it fun to create this content for not only our listeners, but our followers and the followers of some of the other folks that we have interacted with happily. Brad, what has been your, now you're back, and I am so glad that you are back, especially on this day. It's a very special day for us nerds. And what do you think of all this?
It's both mind-blowing and humbling at the same time. You talk about, we talk about like-minded. It's not even really like-minded. I've said many times, we talk about diversity and, diversity of race, of gender, of age, ethnicity, religion. All that is extremely important. But, personally, I've always felt the diversity of opinion and thought, I think is the most important. And although we've got all these great podcasts, all these great projects coming together, they all have their very unique voice. No two are the same. But for all those to come together under this banner of the Red5 network, it's humbling and it's awesome. And like you said, I think it is just the beginning. Said right before the show, I think this is the icing on the cake for today. Some great stuff came out today. I know we're going to talk about, and for this to be happening at the same time, it's amazing.
It truly is. Like I said, it was a special day for folks, and I know people are coming into the chat room. We got some of our fellow podcasters backstage, and I'm going to bring them out soon. I'm wondering if we should bring them out first or after our little video presentation, but I also wanted to make mention, guys, we put up the website for the network, red5network.com. It is live and out there in the internet world, so please go visit the website. We got a couple of things brewing, a lot of projects that we've been working on between Brad, myself, and Alex, and some of the other fellow podcasters that have joined our adventure here at Red5. So we are very, very happy, very thrilled to be able to bring you some new content branded under Red5 Network. And the only thing, nothing really changes other than we're going to have a lot more fun, a lot more collaboration, and a lot more Star Wars love. Cam Ray, I see you very much. Thank you very much. Brad, you put out a question a couple of minutes ago, I think it was a while ago, regarding, if people wanted to ask us and some of the other members, a little question. And Cam Ray, he hit it. He hit a home run with his question. We'll bring that out in a minute. But like I said, the red5network.com is ready to go, and this is going to be, it's going to take a lot of time, because we want to, again, if anybody has listened to our podcast, we like to put a little extra TLC into our episodes, because the quality of our fans and our listeners, we really appreciate every single one of them. And like I said, we put a lot of work into our episodes, and it's because we love you all. And it's as simple as that. We love putting this stuff together. We love sharing it with everybody, and we love the interaction and the feedback that we get from a lot of you.
Yeah, I just come in and say some random things, but Ro does all the heavy lifting with all the editing on the back end, and polishes all the stuff that I say. Actually makes it turn out good. And with the Red5 network, it's all about synergy. The greater than the sum of its parts, and I think it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome. We got some people in the chat. Let's say hello to Charlie Skywalker. I know he's backstage. Mr. Rez and Hala Chronicles podcast. It's either Andy or Josh. I'm betting it's Andy. Hello. Alexander, thank you very much for coming by. Matt Vader, as we mentioned. We got, hey, it's my fellow broadcast brother, Cesar Rodriguez. Brother, do I miss you out there on the streets, man? Because we used to just like randomly like look at each other and just like hum a Star Wars theme, like a Star Wars piece of music, and it's like we were connected right there. We knew what was going on, so this is very funny. Miss you, brother. We got to have coffee real soon and maybe visit a comic book store or two and check out some collectibles.
It sounds amazing. Jim and Pam. Office reference.
Yes, definitely. So what else is going on? You know, we've got this collaboration we've been kind of teasing. And if you guys are, if you don't know, that we started a Twitter account as well for Red5 Network. We're going to be posting and cross-promoting a lot of our fellow members through that Twitter, as well as Scarif. You guys know that we're all about collaboration on Scarif. And this is kind of a culmination of that collaboration. Isn't that right, Brad?
Absolutely. So that's the fun part. You know, sometimes we might take ourselves too seriously, and I think we've done a good job keeping each other in check and not taking ourselves too seriously, having fun while we're doing it. You mentioned some great stuff that we have going. We also have the Scarif 2001 initiative going. That was a Rose challenge to me, how quickly we can grow the community up to above 2,000 for the Scarif Scuttlebutt. And, I'm cheating. I'm trying to get there before the deadline. So I've put some of my own personal Star Wars memorabilia up for the giveaway. And I did promise that tonight, while we're doing this, I would announce the winner of today's challenge for Scarif 2001. So we'll do that here in a little bit. But first of all,
I think you're nuts to announce that you're giving away some of your own stuff, because that is just dangerous. Hey, followers of the Force is here. He's came by to stop by. David, how you doing? They're recording episode 101. That is an amazing milestone. Congratulations, episode 101.
That's awesome.
And thank you, David, for stopping by the show. I wish you luck on 101. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to hear that.
I think it feels like we just started, but I think we'll be wore out by the time we get to 101 at the rate that we're going right now.
Yeah, what are we, like 26 maybe?
I don't know. Yeah. You're the responsible one.
Right.
You still, I'm going to say you haven't picked a winner yet, haven't randomized it yet. So the question for today, for all those tuning in, how did you spend your Star Wars day today? Whether it was watching the finale of the Clone Wars, or the Mandalorian documentary, watching a trilogy. I think Alex is watching The Empire Strikes Back right now. I saw that he was live tweeting that. So shoot a tweet out there with how you spent your Star Wars day with the hashtag Scarif 2001. Remember, Scarif only has one F in it. Scarif 2001, and I'll pick a winner here in just a little bit. And the winner will get one of the pops that we show in the picture on the account.
That's awesome. And I know you've got somebody waiting in the wings for another piece of your collectible, and maybe we'll announce that later too if they show up. But
there's been some subtle hints that somebody wants the R2D2.
Oh yeah,
that was pictured. But I am. Well, I've never been accused of being sane, but truth be told, I've got more than enough Star Wars stuff. I mean, that whole room's filled, and there's nothing like sharing it. Star Wars is something that should be shared. So
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah, for Christmas, we had a whole bunch of toys that were still unwrapped or, still in the package out in the garage, and being able to turn those in for toys for tots, that sort of thing. You can just imagine the little kid's face when they open up the present and it's a, brand new, Darth Vader or Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's awesome. I think that's what it's all about.
Definitely. Yeah, that's and again, that's one of the reasons that we love doing this show for everybody that is willing to listen to our takes, our discussions on, anything Star Wars related. We love talking about, Jedis and Sith and planets and our own little take on this corner of the universe, which is fantastic fun. And it's fantastic fun when we get people interacting with us and telling us what they like, what they don't like. Just our recent episode with that we talked about Qui-Gon. All of us were on board, both Brad and myself and Alex, talking about Qui-Gon and the type of Jedi that he was. It's always an interesting thing to kind of pick apart some of the topics that we pick, and that topic in particular, we want to thank Ian, Star Wars Ian, if he's not in the chat room. But Star Wars Ian, thank you very much for suggesting that topic, which, when I told Brad about it, he was like, he got a little excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
Lord.
Rachel's on.
Yeah, Rachel's here. Oh.
Rachel's here.
She must have caught the conversation. But, yeah, Rachel, thank you very much for helping us push our Red5 Initiative, both on Red5 Network and Scare of Scuttlebutt Podcast. And look at all those caps. Yeah, sorry, Rachel. The R2 has been taken. All that's left is my Jar Jar lunchbox. So you're welcome to the Jar Jar lunchbox.
Oh, no, don't believe it. Don't believe it, Rachel. So before I bring some of the other folks in on the Red 5 Initiative, as we're calling it, what do you say we play a little video?
Sounds good.
Excellent. This is Ro and Brad from the Scare of Scuttlebutt Podcast. We'll catch you in about 2 minutes or so, and we'll come back and we'll introduce some of the other folks that are part of the Red 5 Initiative. Talk to you later.
The Red 5 Network? The internet can't withstand the coolness of that magnitude!
What's up, everybody? I'm Salty from the Salty Nerd Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Andrew Gore from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Carla Jackalone, and I am Red 5.
I'm BP with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Rob, host of the Jedi Temple Archives Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Heather Allred, and I am Red 5.
I'm JD Barrow, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Lauren from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sunny Ravencourt of the University of Coruscant, and I'm Green 5. Red. Well, if they're any good, they'll just cut it in.
My name is Aaron Julian, and I am Red 5.
Pat Hoffman. Actually, Red 5.
I'm Marisha from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
This is Slade with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
What's up? This is David with Black Squadron Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Charles. And I'm Pat from Conversations Podcast.
And we are
Red 5.
This is Andrea from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
This is Charlie Skywalker from Star Wars Through the Ages Podcast, and I am Red 5.
And this is Ro from the Scare of Scuttlebutt Podcast, coming to you live from the Red 5 Media Center. We are Red 5.
How about that for a video?
That was awesome.
All right,
We're part of it, and I'm pumped after watching that.
It's official now. It's official now.
Next time, remind me. I'll get my camera fixed before we make the video. And
all right. So I want to bring in some of the other members of the Red 5 podcast network that we've gathered. I feel like Nick Fury, like in the Avengers, where we bring all these great people together with superpowers, super Star Wars powers, and
where's your eye patch?
I need an eye patch. So not in any particular order, but it's past Rob's bedtime, so we're probably going to have to get him in first. So here is Rob from the Jedi Temple Archives podcast. Rob, how's it going? How are you? What is going on, my friend?
It's going amazing. I don't know about anyone else, but I was pumping to the beat there during the video. It was awesome. So thank you for putting that together for us, bro. And just looking forward to more and more collaboration with all the fellow members of the Red 5 Network. And if you're Sam Jackson, then I want to be Iron Man. The JTA podcast would be recommended for your initiative, but not me.
Definitely, you could be Iron Man. Actually, you can be Nick Fury. I'll give you the eye patch.
Gotcha, man.
And,
okay, I'll take that.
Can I just be what's his name? Happy? Whoever Jon Favreau is.
Oh yeah, Happy. Yeah. There you go. You go.
I'll take him.
That's awesome. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about why when I approached you for this Red 5 initiative, what kind of caught your eye or caught your ear? What made you say yes? I want to be part of that.
The pictures and video that you were holding over me had a big part in it, but no. I mean, you were one of the very first podcasts that I reached out to and collaborated with very early on. When I got the podcast up and running, we've done a lot of fun stuff together. You are always open and willing to help out everyone that you work with, which is a wonderful trait to have. And it's a group of podcasts that most of us came online at roughly the same time. We've kind of all been growing up in the Star Wars podcast community together. Everyone has got an incredible sense of humor, which is a big plus for me. I like goofing around a little bit. Had a lot of fun doing some commercials with you guys, with conversations, and we all tend to run, more or less with a core group of fans that kind of have found the various podcasts through each other. So it seemed like the perfect marriage of all those things, and I think it's really going to be a great thing for both us and for the listeners.
I would have to agree. Our sense of humor, once I got to know you a little more, Rob, I think our sense of humor is very similar. And that's one of the great things that, I like about, we were both on your podcast just a couple of episodes ago. I had a lot of fun, talked about some really great Star Wars stuff, and I am very excited that we could be able to continue doing the collaborations, with all of our member podcasts, and not just our member podcasts. We got, obviously a lot of friends out there, other Star Wars pods that we love interacting with and listening to. So it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be a great ride. And yes, creative D&D. That's a great quote. Thank you for that. Nothing over Avengers, but that's kind of what I feel. So it's pretty funny.
I assume that's the alcoholic blue milk.
The alcoholic blue milk. That is correct.
It's whatever Luke was drinking in The Last Jedi. I think that's the other.
There you go. There you go.
That good.
The thalassiren juice.
Excellent.
Thalassiren.
Next on the roster, again, in no particular order, I'm going to bring in our good friend Charlie Skywalker, Red 4 himself. And you may know him from his show, Star Wars Through the Ages. Red 4, Charlie Skywalker. Charlie, how's it going?
What an amazing day. Absolutely fantastic.
It is an amazing day. It's Star Wars Day, May 4th. It's Red 5 Initiative launch day. And it is... what'd you do today? You didn't get run over by another car, did you?
No, not today. I stayed inside the house and I just vegged on as much Star Wars that I could get. I watched the Mandalorian behind the scenes. I was actually watching the Empire of Dreams with my wife because she had never seen it. So it kind of gives her a little more idea of why I am the way I am. So, so yeah, just having fun with it. The kids enjoyed some Star Wars earlier, and yeah, just having a blast.
Anybody else still get goosebumps when they watch Empire of Dreams, especially when they like show the movie theater and then the music starts playing in the theater and everybody goes crazy? Man, I still get goosebumps at that.
Always. Yeah, I think I owned that documentary on VHS when it came out back in the day. I still have it. So, Charlie, let me ask you, when I approached you about joining our little merry band of troublemakers, what attracted you to be part of this little venture here?
Well, at first I wanted to make sure that you were actually meaning to talk to me about it, because I feel like I'm the new kid on the block. I'm just getting started. I'm really now just getting used to the way everything works. And I asked a few questions about who was going to be in it, what was the main objective. And when you told me the people that you had already committed and people you were looking at, I realized these are the people that I'm already talking to a lot already. They're the ones that are already giving me advice, helping me out, just even unsolicited. And they quickly became family. And there was a slide in your presentation where it highlights the family aspect. And to me, that's what Red 5 is. We are a family. We have a lot of different opinions. We have a lot of the same opinions, but we all work together. We all pull on that same rope, and we all have fun and are passionate about this Star Wars thing.
I couldn't agree more, and thank you for noticing. That's one of the things that I love about this group. You know, I think it started with 3, and we got 10 pods in the group, and I'm flabbergasted. So, yes, Charlie, thank you very much. You may be the new kid on the block, but, you know, as we have said countless times, you know, Star Wars makes us family, and you are like our little brother. What's going on in the chat, man? I think Rachel is still trying to see if she can commandeer some Scarif swag. What's going on in there?
She started petition.org for the R2D2. You don't have to go that far. And somebody pointed out the red Chrome Vader from the pictures for the giveaway. That was one of the anniversary Vader toys that came out, and that is definitely one of my personal favorites. That and the 500th Hasbro Vader, that's in the picture where his it's from Empire Strikes Back, where his helmet actually descends and you can lift it up and put it down on his head. That's in this little meditation chamber. That's in that picture too. I would hate to see one of those go, but it is for good cause.
It's for a good cause. For a good cause. So let's bring in another one of our member pods, and I could not be more excited to introduce our good friends, one of the pods that we started out doing our mega crossover events. I love saying that because every time I say mega crossover events, I always think of the Coruscant Radio Underground crew. Fantastic people. And I cannot be more excited over the fact that they have decided to join our team. So without further ado, let me hide some of this stuff and bring them on. Coruscant Radio Underground is in the house. How's it going, Marisha and Andrew and the rest of your team? Are the Padawans asleep already?
Are you kidding?
No. They're watching something.
No, they're fighting about who gets to be Rey on Disney Infinity.
Oh, nice. So who won?
Oh, usually a lot. Usually the littlest one.
Yeah. That's sweet.
I
What
brought
in
this
the
out-
world?
I brought this out just for Rob.
Andrew, you win. You win the internet today. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
The mead horn of the gods.
Cheers.
That is great. So, of course, on Radio Underground, you've been kind of part of our family since almost the beginning, I want to say. And like I said, I couldn't be happier to have met you guys through the years, through the year, basically. But you guys have been fantastic supporters and incredible contributors. I treasure you guys. I cannot say that enough. You guys are really, really great, and I love all of you guys. But tell us a little bit about we have roots. We go way back to the legacy of Leia Organa. If anybody has followed us, also again since the beginning, that we started a Legacy of series where we kind of take a subject, a Star Wars subject, and kind of deep dive and really go into it. And one of our first ones was Leia Organa, which we did a part 1 and a part 2 with CRU, and that's kind of what started it all. And Brad, you and I talked a while ago about, I think it was on our 1-year anniversary, where whether we didn't notice it or not, but after we did that first mega crossover episode, everybody and their grandmother started doing mega crossover episodes. It might be my imagination. Again, I wasn't paying attention too much, but they say, what is it? Copying is the imitation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to focus with him drinking out of that horn, but it's not. It's not going so well.
It's really distracting from here. If anyone's wondering. Yeah.
Well, there's like an art to maneuvering it around the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Table.
Yeah. But before we did that, we didn't know how it was going to go. At least for us, it was fairly uncharted territory, and we got a lot more folks around. I mean, neither one of us had heard. We thought it was a fairly novel idea. Maybe we were just ignorant to the podcasting community, but we hadn't heard too many crossovers at that point. Maybe we just missed them. It's possible. We weren't sure how that was going to work for us personally, at least. And it really couldn't have turned out better. And we've had some, great collaboration ever since. So it was well worth it. And, one of the best things we've done as a podcast for sure.
Yeah, that's one of our. I think that was the first time we ever recorded with anybody from another podcast.
Yep.
We had like other people on that we knew, but I think that's the first thing we did and it was so fun.
I mean, we had been going for about a year at the point that you asked us to do that episode. We had our podcast had been around for about a year. It really kind of felt like we were just kind of wandering in the wilderness. I mean, we had not really gotten tied in with any other podcast. We were just kind of going it alone, and y'all asked us. Me and you got to chatting about something, and then you asked us to do that episode, and it's still one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. It's still one of our most downloaded episodes.
Oh wow, nice!
And awesome. And it was. We finally felt like we had found our podcast family here, and it's just continued to grow, and we love it.
That's awesome.
I'm emotional.
I will say that anyone who's ever produced a podcast, to be able to get on another person's show and have all the fun about talking about Star Wars without having to do the production on the back end is just extra bonus, right?
That's my whole life. I just get on and talk, and then he does all the hard stuff. Because I can't.
That's why he has the giant horn of whatever he's doing.
I think it's Gondor. Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Oh, nice.
So when I approached you guys, I guess we talked a little bit about it, but we've been kind of at it for the last couple of months. Really gearing up to start this endeavor, and it's been a lot of fun. Just kind of gearing up for today. But what has been your experience dealing with not only Brad and myself, but the rest of the team?
It's been so fun. I've never been much of a Twitter person. I don't really like Twitter very much. I mostly have done Instagram because it gives me an excuse to look at cute pictures of my kids. But I've really enjoyed like getting to know people, interacting with people on the internet, which I never thought would be my thing. But here I am.
No, and I found a group where we have a pretty diverse array of opinions on things.
Sure.
And we're able to do that and sit down and talk about it. And you know, and nobody gets mad, nobody gets upset. We just have a blast and we accept the other person's opinion and we move on. And that's great because, you know, on doing this, like that's not what we had encountered prior to the beginning of this.
So wait, you guys talk to other podcasters and have different opinions, and then nobody pokes an eye out?
Right.
I mean, we intentionally structure our show that way. You know, that we, Andrew and I are always on, but we have other people on sometimes. And it's more interesting whenever you can have different opinions and you can, iron sharpens iron, you know, it makes life more exciting that way.
I think the best way to describe it is this is the kind of group that would get together at a Star Wars celebration.
Yep.
And I don't think there would be a moment of silence the entire time. I think we'd be chatting it up 100% of the time, throwing ideas back and forth, you know, at the celebration, catching all the trailers and all the panels, and then going out and getting some drinks out on town and still talking about Star Wars. Yep. And somehow still not having a moment of silence the entire time because we're chatting about what we love. So I think that best summarizes the group.
And it's funny because we just did our last Friday night hangout. Rob, were you there with us? It was Friday night, right? Yeah. And we talked for like 2 solid hours, and you know, I hit the broadcast button, and like in my mind it was like 3 seconds later I had to end it, and I look at the clock and it was like 2 hours later. So it's it's really my wife was always like surprised that we still have like stuff to talk about. It's like, didn't that movie come out in 1977?
And we're just scratching the surface.
And we're just scratching the surface. That is correct. But speaking of teammates, we can't continue without our third integral part of the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Mr. Imperial Entanglements himself is in the green room. I'm going to bring him on and continue our chat because it wouldn't be hashtag Team Scarif without our number one salty nerd, Mr. Alex. More salt. Here we go. How's it going, brother? What's up?
Hey everybody, how you guys doing tonight? Happy May the 4th be with you.
Happy May the 4th. You guys had quite a day today, huh? Watching some movies with the kids?
Dude, I binged, 5 movies today? I started with Solo, then I did Rogue One, and then I went straight into A New Hope, and then I just now finished Empire Strikes Back, and I think I'm going to personally just watch Return of the Jedi. I'm going to put my kids to bed, and I'm going to go back and watch Return, because I don't feel like I've done enough. I need to finish that trilogy.
Yeah, totally. So, I just wanted to thank you, Alex, for joining the team. It has been beyond rewarding. And just, again, just a little backstory. When I started my previous Lives podcast, I went under another name, and I remember kind of just looking through podcasts and listening to what people, what was out there. And I came across the Salty Nerd podcast, and a lot of times, it would take, half an hour, 45 minutes before people started to actually talk about the topic that they supposedly advertised. And I'm like, next. And I was really happy that I found Alex and the Salty Nerd, because they got to brass tacks right away. And I'm like, yeah, this, if I want to talk about something, I'm going to talk about something. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't talk about sports. I don't believe anybody wants to hear what I had for dinner or lunch the previous day. So I just want to get down to business. And Alex, that's what you did. That's what you continue doing on the Salty Nerd podcast, and one of my favorites. So I know you guys are doing a special month for Star Wars, Star Wars celebration here for the month of May. Tell me a little bit about it. And I just finished your episode for today. I was a little afraid, but...
How did you handle it? You all right?
I'm okay. I took a couple of Xanax, and they all worked.
We were pretty salty on the prequels, and we like. I'm so glad that we have people like you who are willing to listen to us ramble on for a couple hours. But our goal is like, we know what you're here for. You're not here to hear us chit chat about our private life. We're not here to talk about anything else except for movies. So that's what we're gonna do. This month we did. We booked a full month of the Salty Nerd Podcast weeklies. The first week, May 4th, is the prequels. The second week is going to be the Clone Wars, Solo, and Rogue One. We're going to go in chronological order. And then the third week, original trilogy. And then the final week, we're going to sit down and talk about the sequel trilogy. So we have the whole month dedicated to Star Wars, as it should be. And we can't wait. We can't wait for people to listen to it. We can't wait for people to give feedback. I'm really surprised I haven't been dogpiled today with when we released the prequel one, because we didn't really pull any punches on that one. We were pretty honest with our thoughts on that trilogy. Although there's a lot to love, there's a lot of cringe in those three movies. So we just discussed it. We have a ton of fun, and I'm glad we have people like you and everybody else who listens to it, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, bro, and Can I jump in and talk about when we're talking about collaboration? Back when we didn't know, what the future was going to hold as far as my Navy career went, whether I was coming or going, staying or leaving, wasn't quite sure. We knew we'd need to, pick up another member to keep this thing going. You and I had these conversations, and we're like, not to blow up his head any more than it already is. But we're like, we got to get Alex. We got to hit him up because we knew that what he brought would be, I hate to say a fine addition to our collection, but I guess I'll just throw it in there. It worked out great, and we were like, we knew we had to get Alex, and I'm really glad that we did. So I appreciate what you've done. And we also have to make we're going to have to get him his own TeePublic shirt with the hashtag more salt than crate. We got to make that hashtag catch on just for Alex.
I mean, it's May the 4th, and I had to rock my Luke Deserved Better t-shirt just to make sure everybody knew what side I was on.
I do have to point out that one of the other things that really drew me to this group of people is that, I was born in a time where you could sit there and have dissenting opinions, and people would listen and agree to disagree, and you could have that civil conversation. And that has tended to go away. We don't see a lot of that happen on social media. But with this group and the people that tend to follow the various shows, you get a lot of respect for the fact that people can sit there and disagree. I know Brad and Alex have had their times where they had opposing opinions about things, and certainly others of us have disagreed on a number of things. But
this is
the
Brady Bunch I
reality
got looked down?
Yeah, no, it's funny because I think back to the episode we did when we had Trevor on for the first time, and he was throwing out there that he didn't really care for the Mortis arc and was not thinking that we were going to want to hear about that, and you were like, yeah, let's go with it, let's talk about it, and we had a great discussion based on that. So, being willing to sit there and talk about those opposing viewpoints, and you can feel however you want. It's when you start expecting everyone else to agree with you on everything you say that you start running into those problems. And really, everyone that's involved in this network is wide open to having those conversations. And you can feel your way, and I can feel my way, and we're still going to get along and have a great time talking Star Wars.
And you just got to realize that there's the right opinion, and then there's Alex's. So it all works out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I am super glad to be a part of this group. I know the fandom, as far as like the online community, gets kind of a bad rap. There's a lot of people out there that kind of steal the limelight and just use and abuse it, I guess. And that's for both sides. I think there's people on both sides who are just like not something that we should aim to be as far as the fandom goes. And I hope to be the change that I want to see. And although I have some hot takes, it's 90% of the time it's in good fun. And, I still love these movies. I still love Star Wars. And just because I disagree with somebody doesn't mean that it should ruin a potential friendship. So I like talking about Star Wars just as much as anybody else.
Well, that's the one thing that, when Brad and I started this Scare podcast, we came in at around the same time where we were noticing a lot of, that kind of stuff taking away. Oh, look, a Baby Yoda. Nice. So, you're right, Alex. We do want to change kind of the landscape of fandom. We want to give them an opportunity to, be able to, say what's on their mind without repercussions. I mean, Star Wars is, it's just 9+ films, including, some of the offshoots. But, with this much material, there's bound to be some, things that some people like better than others. But we just can't dog each other on the fact that somebody might like something a lot more than you like it. And, that's just life. And Brad, you said it once, Twitter is not life. I think when we start to interact with each other here, and hear different opinions and just kind of talk about it, I think, it gives everybody a reprieve from all that BS,
100%. Like, people make the mistake of thinking that Twitter is reality. You have about 2% of the population talking on Twitter, and 98% of people, going one way or the other. It's these actual conversations where you learn something from other people. There's no trigger alarms here. We just we interact, we share our opinions, and like Rob said, we keep going, just like the conversations you had back in the 80s and 90s. Oh, you didn't agree with that? Oh, okay. Good on you. It's Star Wars. Star Wars is personal to everybody. Everybody has a different feeling when they watch the movie. Different parts of the movie resonate with, differently with different people. So to try to say Star Wars is this or Star Wars is that is asinine. And I don't think anybody here tries to do that. They speak for themselves and speak from the heart, and that's about all you can ask for.
And that is one of the great things that I love about this network. There's 10 podcasts that are involved here, but it's one unique family, but 10 individual and unique voices within that family. So that's one of the things I love. We're starting this network, but we're not going to be, delegating or commanding or putting forth some sort of weird manifesto about what to say, how to say it. We've already demonstrated that we love talking to different folks and different opinions, and let's just all get drunk. Jeez, Rob, what have you done to all my friends here?
I had nothing to do with it. I know it's making me look like I can constantly drinking scotch. It's only when I'm on. So, and if I start drinking it out of that horn Andrew's got, I've got a bigger problem. So, that is
yeah, me too. I totally only drink when I'm online.
So Joey Rosales here has got a great comment. Obviously, that kind of wraps things up for our concept. Just different opinions make for more interesting conversations. Otherwise, like we've always said, it's an echo chamber, and you don't grow from that, and you don't interact from that. So yes, Joey, that is a perfect example of what we're trying to achieve here. What are some of the other things that you guys are looking forward to in the Red 5 network? Andrew, Marisha, I know we got a couple of things that I'd like to plan with you guys, but tell me a little bit about your expectations. I love those Izzies.
Somebody asked what it was. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, we're just looking forward to continuing to work with everybody. We're really excited. We had Lauren from the Galactic Podcast on. the other day for our episode that we dropped this morning, and that went fantastic. And we're just looking forward to continuing to collaborate with everybody in this group.
Oh, and speaking of Lauren, congratulations to her and Andrea for getting on that list, the Galactic podcast, getting on the list of the top 10 Star Wars podcasts. Yay, Lauren and Andrea.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's on iTunes or what platform?
We'll have to send you the link. Yeah, it was a top 10 list.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. Yeah, it was a good one.
Brad, you can forward that over.
Lauren wrote that article.
Yeah, I'll research that one.
What was that, Rob?
I said, did anyone notice that Lauren wrote that article?
Completely unbiased.
Not the case. Not the case.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Oh, somebody else we know made that list as well. Pete over at Around the Galaxy. So congratulations to Pete and Around the Galaxy for making that article as well. I didn't recognize a lot of other podcasts. I think maybe.
Coffee with Kenobi was on there. He has a good podcast.
Yeah,
there were a few on there that I recognized.
Coffee with Kenobi's been around for.
Oh yeah.
A while, right? Yeah.
Right.
I think the Tatooine Sons were on there. There's a few on there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's awesome. So what's going on in the chat room? What's with something about Alex's pajamas? What was that all about?
Hey, whoa. Whoa.
Let's
keep it on. Know. Keep the subject on Star Wars. No fluff.
No. But
we had something to do about dinosaurs.
Oh, dinosaurs. Yeah, okay. Bring it on. We're good.
Dino PJs.
We can talk about dinosaurs all day.
So some of the other members that are not here tonight, maybe they'll join us in a second. But we got University of Coruscant, who is also part of the Red 5 network, in the chat. And here's a message from him right now.
Well, I thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, James. Here's to you then.
Is he part of Red 5 or Green 5?
Oh, that's right. He's Green 5.
He's starting another wing.
Yeah. But if you guys, if anybody wants a little Star Wars education, University of Coruscant has some great lectures, short subject lectures, and a really unique podcast. I know the guys over at WSCR had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So that was a lot of fun. I could not stop laughing at James's story of being sold to slavers in Mexico or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really looking forward to is all the things that we're going to have available on the website. We really haven't talked too much about the website yet. But it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great design, and it has so many different options for creativity. And I think that's one thing that sets us all apart is we all have different avenues of creativity, whether it's making commercials or jingles or fan fiction stories or just general comments about everyday life. We like to have fun. We like to be creative. And this is an opportunity for us to show that in many different ways.
That's funny because Brad had, when Brad first came back and started to kind of commingle with us again after his hiatus, he must have listened to one of the newer episodes, because I get a text from him and he's like, LOL, Tuscan tan? So yeah, that is definitely one of the things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a lot of collaboration, we're going to continue to do some of that stuff. But some brand new segments as well. I kind of did a little segment called TED 5. It's going to be kind of like our Red 5 Star Wars TED Talks that we'll do short clips among everybody. Next week we'll start to record and release some of those. So those are going to be a lot of fun. What else are folks looking forward to for Red 5? I know some of the other folks are not with us. WSTR, Galactic Public Access. We've got obviously Lauren and Andrea as part of the network. University of Coruscant, as we mentioned. Who else is missing? Oh, Black Squadron. Black Squadron podcast, great group of guys, and that's one of the things that obviously with Andrew, Marisha, and Rob, you guys, we've been on your podcast before, but I'm looking forward to having some of the other podcasts that we haven't really interacted with, lately or at all, coming to Red 5 Network and trying to do some new things. So that's going to be very exciting. Don't you think, Brad?
Yep, and am I allowed to tell the video series, the other video series that we're working on?
Oh, yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to be posting on the website. I just posted the link right here on screen, red5network.com. And I do want to thank Charles, Charles and Pat from Conversations Podcast, another integral part of our network. Charles helped me immensely on putting the website together, as well as Andrew and Marisha donating some valuable internet real estate to host the website. So thank you guys very much. Thank you, Charles, for helping me. I do a little web work, but nothing too major. And like I said, you guys were invaluable to the creation of the website. So thank you very much.
Hey, I wanted to welcome, I'm not sure if we have Rural Farm Boys here with us. Appreciate you being out here tonight to join this launch party. Also, Ro and I are going to be working on a new video series, tentatively called the Citadel Broadcast. We're going to be making short little movies, not movies, but little videos, informational type about Star Wars. So picking different topics, different characters from the Star Wars universe. One of the first ones I want to do is talk about the Darth Bane and the Rule of Two. So these will be short informational videos that people can grab and hopefully learn something from. And then the intent, if we can make it work, is then to talk about those topics on the podcast. So excited to start working on that as well.
That's awesome.
And more commercials, like Charlie said. We love doing those mock commercials, Tuscan Tan, and Rob? What was the other one that you worked on with Charles?
We did the Otagunga insurance. We've got that embedded in a number of episodes. It's also out on the JPA YouTube site as well.
That's fantastic.
Actually, I think the first video might be who is Raul Alvarez. I think I might have to do that as penance, so everybody knows who that is.
Good. Quit bringing it up. I waited until we were up here to even bring it up in the first place. Well, you are pro penance, man.
I think we got to do an episode called "What is a Probe Droid?"
Don't invite Pat for that. He's still a little bit salty about it.
Did he miss out on the probe droids?
Yeah, somebody made an error and called a pro droid an astromech or vice versa. I can't remember who that was.
University of Coruscant.
By the way.
You what?
University of Coruscant says they were going to steal our work and convert into their own episodes. That's what it's all about. I support.
All I know is that Tuscan Tan was just an off-the-cuff nonsense comment I made for a station ID that Ro asked me to send, and next thing I know, it's a commercial. So, Ro mocking up product placement.
And it's funny because that's how it works. That's kind of how it works. It's off the cuff. I know, Alex, when you guys do your Salty Nerd, that's how you guys title your episodes. Somebody says something funny and goofy, and you guys go with it. So, it's very. The creative mind is a very, very mysterious thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how we can consistently come up with dumb, stupid things to say. And That sounds funny. Let's say it on it. It's like every episode. There's at least one sentence in there where we're like, "Yep, that's the title of the episode." Boom. Or hey, that's
going to be hard, but it's so easy when you're podcasting. Your
really
brain
is so easy.
Thinking one thing and your mouth says something else, and it's ridiculous. I mean,
Like
the TED 5 thing was Rose typo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And like the last episode we did was we watched a 1960s movie called The Angry Red Planet, and there was this beat. They never gave it a name in the movie, but it looked like a bat rat spider crab, and we were like, "What's the name of the episode?" And we're like, "Let's name it Bat Rat Spider Crab." Like, boom, there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, so stuff like that.
Is like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 of podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we kind of compared it to, that episode too.
So I want to, now that we're an hour into our broadcast, I want to be able to show that video again for some people that might have shown up late in the chat, just to give some folks an idea of what they'll expect from Red 5 and its partner pod. So we'll catch you guys back in a minute or two. Let's roll that footage.
The Red 5 network? The internet can't withstand the coolness of that magnitude!
What's up, everybody? I'm Salty from the Salty Nerd Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Andrew Gore from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Carla Jackalone, and I am Red 5.
I'm BP with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Rob, host of the Jedi Temple Archives Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Heather Allred, and I am Red 5.
I'm JD Barrow, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Lauren from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonny Ravencourt of the University of Coruscant, and I'm Green 5. Red. Well, if they're any good, they'll just cut it in.
My name is Aaron Julian, and I am Red 5.
Pat Hoffman. Actually, Red 5.
I'm Marisha from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
This is Slade with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
What's up? This is David with Black Squadron Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Charles. And I'm Pat from Conversations Podcast.
And we are
Red 5.
This is Andrea from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
This is Charlie Skywalker from Star Wars Through the Ages Podcast, and I am Red 5.
And this is Ro from the Scuttlebutt Podcast, coming to you live from the Red 5 Media Center. We are Red 5.
All right, that beautiful bean footage has been rolled. Thank you guys in the chat. You guys are funny because every time I say roll that, I always want to say roll that beautiful bean footage because of that damn commercials. But thanks for bringing that up. Alex, you were really getting into it backstage, man. That was, you're really rocking out that music, man. Yeah. So I had 2 pieces of music on that last piece, and I couldn't decide which one, so I had my son kind of come in and help me choose. He's a kind of like a house music thump kind of expert. Teenage kid, loves his house music. So yeah, he's the one that helped me decide. I think the other piece of music was a little darker, but he said this one is a little bit more upbeat and danceable. And I saw Alex rocking out to the video. I'm like, okay, good choice.
It worked.
You don't think you got enough dark music after the last couple episodes of Clone Wars?
Oh yeah, you guys! Oh my God!
How good was that episode?
That was amazing.
Matt Vader tequila does that. Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point. I'm almost out of my margarita.
Oh, tragic.
Oh no.
Marisha, you mock, but it is tragic, all right?
I know everyone's devastated that Andrew's drink is gone.
All right. So we had a question from someone who answered Brad's call to action. What was that call to action, Brad? Do you remember?
Ask Red5?
Ask Red5. Let's put up that little banner that I made. Otherwise, I feel like it was wasted. But here we go. Ask Red5. What are we going to ask Red5?
There's a couple loaded ones. I think there's one that I should ask now and one that we should have everybody think about to answer later. But the one from Cam Ray, I think everybody should just meditate on this one for a little while. The question from Cam: which member of your squadron is most likely to be seduced by the power of the dark side? Which member is the most likely to convince him to return to the light, and why? So just meditate on that one and a little bit. And the other question is from Ollie, and I think we can tackle this one now. Remember, this is use the hashtag AskRed5, and when we get together as a group like this, we'll answer these questions. From Ollie, for the next movies, would you want to go back to the well and reuse characters, or start with all new ones? So what do you guys think?
I know my answer.
Yeah, I might have to agree with you, Salty.
Don't ever touch any of the original characters ever again.
Yeah.
Just move on from that.
Does that include the sequel trilogy?
Yes.
Even more so.
I actually tackled that a little bit in my TED 5 talk.
Oh, nice.
Soon. So, but yes, I agree. I think we need fresh material. We need something new, something to be excited about again. Something that could possibly unite the fandom. Yeah, definitely leave the ones, let them die. Kill them if you must, and bring on something new.
Don't give Disney any ideas. So I'll rephrase the question then. If you were to have a character that got a standalone movie, who would you pick?
From existing characters?
From existing characters.
Okay, existing
Like-
canon characters or
No, it's all canon. We all know that.
The sooner they bring Revan back, the better.
Or make Solo 2 happen.
Hey, I know I get a lot of flack from my team members over at Salty Nerd, but I didn't hate Solo as much as I think I did before. It's starting to grow on me a little bit, and I'm like, man, Ron Howard really does deserve a second chance because there is a lot of potential there with Kira, with Darth Maul, with the Crimson Sun, the Crime Syndicate, everything. Even Han Solo. I mean, Alden Ehrenreich isn't my first choice for Han Solo, but given another chance, he might surprise us. So, yeah, I'm on board. Hashtag make Solo 2 happen. Suck on that, Matt Vader.
Well, especially after this last arc of Clone Wars, I really would love to see more Darth Maul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
L7's dead.
L7's dead. Well, she's in the Falcon now, but
don't remind me, Josh.
But I've always said that, Brad, Alex, we've talked about this on Scarif. I would love to see some more stories with the cast of Solo and more adventures with them. I think that would be fantastic. The underworld in Star Wars really intrigues me. The fact that the Empire seemed to have worked together and closely with crime syndicates. And Brad, you know this, from our work with with all the JFK stuff and the conspiracy stuff. I mean, these governments are working right hand with with their criminal underworld counterparts. And to me, it's a fascinating story arc. If we can get back to that, I think that would be really cool, and I think it would be a really interesting way to bring Star Wars forward as far as introducing new elements to this story. And I know, originally Star Wars is like, the good guys and the bad guys, but there was never like any gray in between. And, movies like, what the hell? Movies like, Rogue One really introduced that extra, feeling, that extra story.
What was it? I think a lot of people missed that in the Clone Wars episode where Palpatine finally takes out Savage Opress and then says, "Hey, I got other uses for you for Maul." I think a lot of people may have missed that merger of the government and the crime syndicates. But there was that video game a couple years ago where you could be the and I got an echo, which is really annoying. You could either be the Empire, or you could be the Rebels, or you could be the Zon Consortium. Anybody remember that video game? And I think it was a lot more, and of course it was named after Timothy Zahn. But the most fun thing to do was be the Zahn Consortium and just wreak havoc as the pirates. So I think that would be fun. And Phoenix Nightflame in the chat said a Vader standalone film, hunting down Order 66 survivors that is rated R. Sort of agree, but if you want to find some great Vader content, really go to the comic books, specifically the Charles Soule comic books. His run on Vader was amazing. Also, Lords of the Sith. Lords of the Sith is a great book.
So good.
And so, if you want some good Vader content, go to the book Lords of the Sith and check out the comic books by Charles Soule. If you want to see Vader be a badass. You guys may have read the panels where the rebels say, "Hey, we have you surrounded," and Vader says, "All I'm surrounded by is fear," and just wipes out the entire rebel regiment that came to capture him. So you want to see some badass Vader? Go to the comic books for that.
That's my Vader right there, baby.
Yep. 100%.
Lords of the Sith. I have it on Audible. I listened to it on audible.com, and my goodness, what a fantastic book that is. The action in that book. If you guys, I don't know, it's one of my favorite pieces of like fan art, but it's got a depiction of Vader standing there with his lightsaber ignited in front of the alien queen from the Alien franchise, and he's just surrounded by all those alien type creatures, and he's ready to roll. The book has a moment like that. He's fighting some kind of like arachnid type giant monsters, and it's just when you listen to it on Audible, because they amp it up, they have sound effects, and you hear Vader breathing and lightsabers and stuff like that. It blew my mind when I read it, man, or listened to it. It was amazing.
And that's got great tie-ins to both the Clone Wars and to Star Wars Rebels too, without making it overbearing.
Yeah, there seems to be a little discussion going on in the chat regarding bringing the R rating to Star Wars, and some folks obviously are against that. What do you guys think about an R-rated Star Wars?
I'm not 100%. Oh, go ahead.
I like to be able to do Star Wars with my kids. That's one of the very few things left in the world that I can do with my kids. I can't even do Star Trek with my kids anymore.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say how Star Trek has kind of suffered. Having Star Trek with family has suffered as a casualty of the R rating. It gets pretty graphic. There's a lot of F-bombs and swear words in Star Trek, which I don't think is really necessary. I mean, I've watched all of Picard, all of Discovery. There seems to be a lot more of that in Picard for whatever reason, and it kind of like irks me. It kind of bugs me. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mandalorian really rides that line really well. I mean, there's a lot of really cool action. Well, I'm sorry?
I said Rogue One did as well.
Oh yeah, totally. Rogue One was fantastic. I just watched it today. It was amazing. I think there's a fine line, and I think PG-13 is more than enough, especially for like sci-fi violence, because there's not a lot of blood and guts. Lightsabers kind of cauterize everything, so you got to cop out with that as far as chopping limbs off and whatnot. But I think you can get away with more than enough with a PG-13 rating. I don't think it ever needs to go R. I mean, can you really hear like Darth Vader say the F-bomb? It would just be so weird.
Mean, like, if you're talking about an R rating, it's like, what are you asking for to be added? Like, I mean, we had the Vader hallway scene. Like, isn't that enough?
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
I mean, unless the only thing I can think of is there's only one other way you can get rated R besides swearing is it was like nudity or something. Which I don't think.
Please.
No, it's the Padme wearing the Fredericks of Hollywood get up and Attack of the Clones, right?
I don't know. If you haven't seen a Gamorrean guard wearing a thong, then you haven't seen nothing.
You haven't seen my last Christmas photos.
Wow.
That's a TV shirt. I'm here in Roswell, New Mexico. We have a lot of mostly naked aliens running around here as it is. So they don't. None in Star Wars, please.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Vader 74 has a good point. I mean, the Vader hallway scene, you guys talking about Rogue One and how terrifying that was, and even now with Darth Maul and the Clone Wars. I mean, I don't think it needs to get to rated R to scare the crap out of you. I think, the way they're doing it is very powerful, effective, and classy, I guess, for I don't know, for that sort of suspense. I think, like Lauren says, I would go for a hard pass on a rated R Star Wars. Doesn't need it.
And
the Siege of
that Vader
Mandalore
hallway scene was just enough.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brad. No, I was just gonna say the Siege of Mandalore sequence that they just ran, or the arc that they just ran on Clone Wars, is a perfect example of amazing writing and action and story, and you can sit there and watch it with your kids.
I have a question for the group, because I just got done. I watched the second half of the season of Clone Wars to catch up with what was going on, and everybody keeps talking about the Siege of Mandalore. The Siege of Mandalore. Did we see that in one of these episodes? Because I didn't see anything titled The Siege of Mandalore.
It was the first 2 episodes of the final arc. So the first 2 of the last 4.
Okay, cool. All right, I saw it then. That's when Ahsoka came jumping off the ships and landed with the biggest. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, what? I thought that was the title, like The Siege of Mandalore, and I kept looking for it. I'm like, I don't know what this movie is or this TV show.
Is the Siege of Mandalore, and then kind of the aftermath of it.
So they were all on Mandalore, and then a siege happened.
Oh, okay.
I think they were the ones doing the besieging, weren't they?
Yes, they were besieged.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna be technical here.
Yeah, I think everybody takes part in the siege.
That's I had to go back and look at the timeline to see where it was going, what was going on, because for the siege they were talking about Obi-Wan and Anakin had just been dispatched to deal with Grievous, who attacked Coruscant, and Ahsoka wanted them to go help her with this Mandalore situation and get Maul, and so and then I had to go back, and they actually fitted in really nicely. The way that they did the animation of the conversation in the holo table with Jedi Council. It's they did a great job with it.
Now there's a director. Now there's a director that did his homework.
Yes.
You saw that?
Sammy.
You saw that too?
All right, Sam.
I stand with Sam Witwer.
We talked about that with Bro and Brad on the JTA podcast that we did before last week's episode, which was that they did an amazing job of kind of fitting these things in, so you can go back now and watch the Revenge of the Sith and get something else out of it. You kind of know now what happens after some of these scenes, and they really threaded that together nicely and kept the story in line, which again, I mean, it shows they care about the content that they're putting out, and I think that certainly the hardcore fans are appreciative of that.
Did you guys see that little clip that somebody edited where they put the scene from Revenge of the Sith right on top of from the Clone Wars where Darth Maul and Ahsoka were feeling it? Oh man, that'll just rip your heart out right there. That is amazing.
And I'm not even like a super hardcore fan of the prequels, but I was like watching that, and I'm like, man, that's some powerful imagery right there.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I can only imagine somebody a little bit younger than me, or maybe somebody who just loves the Revenge of the Sith so much, like when watching that scene and hearing those audio cues of Anakin and Mace Windu and Darth Sidious, like just it must have been mind blowing. I mean, I felt it, I loved it. Like somebody who's even more of a fan than I am, I can't even imagine, man. It must have been just blowing people's minds.
So, did we answer the question? Did we answer the Ask Red 5 question? I think we
did. We answered that. Ask Red 5. Hey, Lauren also posted something in the chat just now. RJ did more homework than JJ. Like, we want to talk about those conversations. Now that there is a loaded conversation. And how many drinks have we all had now?
Just one for me. I'll try to keep the salt down a little bit.
Wait. Hold on. Are we going there?
Why not?
I mean,
so
see, who's
hold on. Before I want to get a feel for the room first. Is there anybody?
I think we're losing Alex's
pro because I don't want to have like a. Am I losing?
Yeah, no, we lost Alex. No,
I don't want to have a wave of everybody on the same page.
Communication is only one thing.
Is there anybody that is pro Last Jedi, pro Rian Johnson on this panel right now?
Charlie.
What day you catch it.
Charlie Skywalker. Okay.
Brad is as well.
Yeah.
Do you, Charlie? Do you agree with that statement?
I don't know. That's a tough statement. I really enjoyed The Last Jedi. I look at it a little differently than a lot of people do as far as character explanation. But I don't know. I really like the. I like both perspectives of it. So I can't say who did more homework than the other one. I look at it differently. I'm an oddball when it comes to weird stuff like this. So I enjoyed it. I think they both did due diligence in what they were trying to do. I'm a politician. What can I say?
Wait a minute. What Matt Vader? What does that mean? Noted for future reference. Charlie likes a lot of our members like The Last Jedi. What are you talking about? What?
Matt Vader's a little salty about that subject. You guys will all find out in the last week of May when we have to rewatch the sequel trilogy. He's going to be very upset with me.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree that that Rian Johnson did not, go out and intentionally try to make a movie that would piss people off. I saw him. He came down to Star Wars Celebration Orlando, and this was before the movie came out. And he stayed overnight. All the people that were in these long lines to see the Last Jedi panel, I think it was, and he, all night he just signed autographs and talked to the fans. So I think he genuinely loves Star Wars, but that was, as we said, Star Wars is different for everybody, and I think that was his particular take on it, just like 7 and 9 are JJ's take / George's take. I don't mean it like that, but I think if I were going to fault anybody for the discontinuity in the sequel trilogy, it would be the story group. I think the Lucasfilm story group has they have a role to make sure that you have the same sort of feeling threads throughout the entire trilogy. So if I were going to put it on anybody, I'd put it on them, not necessarily the director.
Who are you?
Don't you guys think?
And I would agree with that. I think that from what I understand, that each director gives a an idea or a direction that they're wanting to take it, and it has to get approved by the story group before they'll greenlight it and say, yes, we can do that. I think we've had trouble with directors in the past that, they start off in one direction, but midstream they want to change it. So like, well, no, it's not going to work for us. We'll have to get somebody else in here. I think each one had a genuine, sincere opinion on their idea of Star Wars, and for whatever reason, they just don't mix well together.
For most people, and I think me and Ro agree on this, for most people who are not happy with the way The Last Jedi happened, there's only one. I mean, the plot itself, the running out of gas, I think that's another subject we can talk about. But I think it's specifically the sticking for a lot of people is Luke Skywalker himself. And the reason why it kind of irks some fans, I think, is because you could have had Rian Johnson wanted to do the fallen hero arc for Luke, which is totally fine. It's a story element that's been used a million times before, and it even harkens back to Kurosawa films. But the difference was, I think we felt cheated that Luke wasn't actually there in person. If that one element would have changed, Ro, you can kind of tell me what you think on this, but if that one element would have changed, if Luke, instead of projecting himself, would have actually gotten on the Falcon and showed up in person on Crate and sacrificed himself there as opposed to on Act 2, would that have changed your opinion about this movie?
I think a little bit, maybe a little bit more than a little bit. Brad, you and I, we've talked about this, in detail. Just the fact that he didn't do anything and he just let things happen, and I don't know, to me, it was out of character. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's the most Jedi thing you could ever do, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, it just doesn't sit well. The fact that he just didn't want to help his friends, his family, the galaxy. And I know, Brad, you had mentioned that Luke at this point is coming from a dark place, and he's seen a lot of stuff that kind of, molded his opinion to be like that. But, it's hard, nobody sets out to say, I'm going to do a movie that pisses the fans off. So obviously Rian Johnson didn't do that. It's just that, and I know we've had discussions with Black Squadron in our last episode that, a lot of folks didn't like The Last Jedi because of our fan expectations. And I don't think that's the case either, because we love other movies that we have some expectations, and sometimes they kind of fold out the way they do, and sometimes they don't. But I don't know, something about it was didn't rub me the right way. Well, and Lauren, don't leave. We're not gonna crap on this all night. It's almost over.
I don't think that anybody can argue that visually, The Last Jedi looks beautiful. I think it's got a great palette. Myself, Alex might disagree. Yeah, but.
For $320 million, it better look freaking beautiful.
Well, sure. But we talked about it on the hero's journey, episode about the hero's journey repeating itself. So Luke did go through that process of rejecting the call to action and that sort of thing. But I think I think we did want to see that X-wing being raised out of the water, like they put it there, and I thought to see it raised out of the water at the end would have been a good thing for him to be there physically. I think that moment was a little bit weak in the Rise of Skywalker. I think that should have already happened in The Last Jedi. It was kind of like a nothing moment when he raised it for Rey in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I'll say just one last thing about it. I think The Last Jedi is a bit of a nihilist take on Star Wars and characters like heroes like Luke Skywalker, and I don't really think that's what a lot of people wanted to see. A lot of people look for Star Wars for hope and for to make them feel better about the world that they live in, which is it's an escape for a lot of people. So I think that that negative outlook on Luke after so many years of not seeing him and then having him back just for one movie, it was kind of like insulting a little bit.
Look, I mean, my issue with The Last Jedi was the same issue that I had with the overall sequel trilogy, which, and we've talked about this on other podcasts as well, which is that there was no unified vision like we had in the original trilogy for sure, and certainly within the prequel trilogy as well. The prequel trilogy had its own, its own issues that caused it to not live up to expectations, but we had 3 different directors in the original trilogy. We had still a cohesive storyline, and the issue with the sequel trilogy was there was not a cohesive storyline. While I totally understand that, certainly the storyline of Last Jedi appealed to different people for different reasons, Rian Johnson himself said it was about subverting fan expectations, which to me is not a plot. That's just something you decide to do. And I certainly respect the fact that he was out, as Brad was talking about, he was out there, he was mingling with the fans, going out of his way to be kind to people, and I think that deserves all the credit in the world. I know that a lot of people find it to be visually stunning, and I completely respect that as well, but at the heart of a good Star Wars story is the story. And if you don't have that, then you're missing the component that makes Star Wars, wonderful at its core. And really, I understand all the issues that people had with the sequel trilogy, and it really comes down to just lack of a cohesive storyline. And it's unfortunate that it ended that way. And I totally agree with Lauren's point that I am ready to move away from the Skywalker saga as well. I think the Mandalorian is a very unifying thing.
I mean, that's been my thing with the sequel trilogy all along, was if you wanted to make a trilogy about new characters, which is what they did, and to do that, they had to somewhat sideline the original characters. If you wanted to make a trilogy about new characters, they should have just made a trilogy about new characters. Yeah, it was all about the money. You're right.
I mean,
but at the same time, like, you brought those characters in, and then you kind of shoved them in the corner. And
yeah. And I know a lot of people. I don't know, Ro. How much longer do you want to talk about this subject? We can switch gears if you want.
Yeah, let's switch gears. I like, Cam Ray had posed a question for Ask Red 5, and I think Brad, you read it a while ago. I think we've had enough time to kind of think about it, and it's a fun question. So let's remind folks what that question was again.
Yeah. So again, if you want to ask us any questions, use the hashtag #AskRed5, and we'll answer it as a group. And Cam asked, which member of your squadron is most likely to be seduced by the power of the dark side? Which member is most likely to convince them to return to the light, and why?
Oh, return? Oh, okay. I thought it was 2 questions, but that's the same question.
And we can't all vote dark side, so.
But it's the funny thing. I mean, I'm looking at this group here, and poor Rob over at the Jedi Temple Archives is throwing shade our way, calling us dirty Imperials. So I think
true.
half of us are already on the dark side.
Yeah, but how many fallen Jedi have we dealt with in the Star Wars storyline? So hey, I'm susceptible as the next guy.
So I think because Alex lives in Vegas, he's probably more susceptible to the dark side and the leanings to the that kind of like Sith style lifestyle. What do you think? I don't know. Could be
because of the strippers,
dinosaurs. No, the dinosaurs.
the Sith
dinosaurs, immediate dark side.
The Sith strippers.
Oh, okay.
Come to the dark side. We have strippers. I don't think that's what they say.
You get a lot more pent-up angry Jedi to come over in that point.
I think out of all of us, and I know Todd over at WSTR is 501st, and he's parading in his Imperial outfits and all that stuff. But I have a feeling that if any one of us, yeah, I think Todd would be the one that would be able to talk us out of joining the dark side if it really were to happen. Because he's such a nice guy.
Who, me?
No, Todd.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, my 501st gear should be here in a couple of weeks. I'm going full Inferno Squad, so bring on the dark side.
I just got my I got my COVID-19 government check. I'm gonna go and buy one of those short trooper helmets from like the Black Label one, and so it looks legit.
Oh, Charlie, there's a cream for that.
Too funny.
Farm Boy was 501st.
Oh yeah, I remember. TK2066. That's awesome. Rural Farm Boy. And yeah, once you get that suit, man, take some pictures.
I'll definitely be blogging about it and putting it on the Red5 website, so everyone can see the progress and what all goes into it.
Yeah, so we just launched the website an hour and a half ago or so. So everybody check it out, red5network.com. We've got blogs written by some of our members, and you can check out a lot of our podcast episodes up there. The last 5 episodes that are live on the RSS feed that will be pulled up from wherever they are hosted. They'll also be on Red5. So I know Salty, you just released one today. Let's talk about Coruscant Radio Underground. You guys had a wonderful episode. Did you guys release that one already?
Yes.
DK Johnston?
Yes.
We did. We dropped it early this morning.
Talk about that. How was that experience? When I heard you guys talk about that before you released it, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, it was I had seen her on, I follow her on Twitter, I guess, and she had posted a couple of weeks ago, hey, anybody got anything going on the internet they want me to come talk on? And I was like, that's interesting. But it took me about 2 weeks to work up the nerve to actually message her and be like, hey, you want to come talk on our podcast? And then I did it. And then I freaked out. And it was like, okay, hon, you got to get somebody to come on and talk with you. So I got a hold of Lauren from the Galactic Podcast, and so she agreed to come on. And whenever Andrea couldn't come on, then I got a hold of one of my cosplay friends 2 days before we recorded. I was like, hey, you want to come on and record with us? And y'all, I was losing my mind a little bit. I kind of tend to be a high stress person anyway. And so I'm sitting here and eating brownies, the whole brownies.
The gluten, the ones filled with gluten?
No, the gluten-free brownies yes, that I made because someone apparently doesn't believe in doing that for his wife. But yeah, it was great. We so we got on and we talked about Ahsoka. We talked about Padme. What's that?
Alex, we're losing you, Alex.
We're getting pieces, little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. We really, really enjoyed it. She was an amazing guest, and she just kind of got on and just chatted with us, just like we were all buddies, and it was great. We really had an amazing time, and I didn't have to edit it, so that made me even better. Andrew sat next to me and kind of, just made sure everything recorded. I had dreams the next night that it all got deleted. That was horrible. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that was our episode today.
That's awesome.
Our very first celebrity interview.
Yay. Awesome. I'm going to check that out in the morning.
Yeah.
I got to meet her down in Atlanta a couple years ago at Dragon Con, and she's got to be one of the sweetest people out there. She's just so genuine and just so sweet. So that's awesome. You got to interview her.
We actually met her at Dragon Con last year. My kids were wearing Padme. One of my girls was wearing the Queen, and then the other one and I were the handmaids. And we had been there the year before and had been at her panel. And I saw her on the internet what happened to the cute little Padmes? They disappeared. And I was like, it was me. So we had to track her down the next year, of course, and got a picture. And yeah, so that was really exciting. But yeah, she was amazing. We had a great time.
That's awesome. Like I said, Andrew, when you gave me a hint about who you guys were going to have on, I was Very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had kind of had some conversations about, I mean, that's the first episode of our show that I haven't, despite the fact there's kind of a revolving panel of 5 of us, that's the first one I haven't been on. And so it's the only episode we've done so far that I haven't hosted. And Marisha was really nervous about hosting it, but I had been kind of putting out there for a while if she wanted to do something like bring some of her cosplay pals on and talk about Star Wars costuming and that kind of stuff. And then the E.K. Johnston thing just kind of fell in our lap, and it was too obvious that was the perfect time to let Marisha host an episode, and it went great.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Would not recommend to anyone hosting your first episode with 3 people you've never spoken to, ever, except on the internet.
It went fine.
Yeah. But I would have been much less nervous if I had actually had a conversation with these people beforehand. But no, it was great. Everyone was great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations, guys. Can't wait to hear it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Charlie, what you got brewing over at Star Wars Through the Ages?
Well, I will have a guest tomorrow talking about Star Wars therapy, something I've been kind of teasing along, I guess 3 or 4 weeks now. Finally getting on the horse and doing the episode. So that will be tomorrow at 8:30 Central here on YouTube through StreamYard.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. Lots of different ways that we can use Star Wars, something that we love, to help us through some trying times sometimes.
That's cool. That's cool. I think, all of us obviously do this for fun, and we do it to unwind. And that's a very good reminder as to, how sometimes, especially nowadays, the stress of real life kind of gets to us. And, we come out here and we hang out with our Star Wars friends, and I think we're better for it. So looking forward to that episode. That's pretty cool. So, Matt Vader, I'm just cracking up, man.
He keeps poking at me. He did not meet me in a strip club. We met in a coffee shop for the first time.
With strippers?
No. Because it's Vegas.
Nancy.
Just because it's Vegas doesn't mean everything has strippers. That's a part of the downtown area.
It's kind of like growing up in New Orleans. Everybody's like, "Oh, you go to Bourbon Street all the time?" No.
That's funny.
No. As a local, I honestly avoid the strip almost at all costs. Unless somebody comes in from out of town, I'm never ever go to the strip.
Exactly.
Yeah, people, when I say that I'm from Chicago, they think I live like on Magnificent Mile. I'm like, no. There's neighborhoods in Chicago too. But at least it got away from, I'll say I'm from Chicago and people will go, oh yeah. I'm like, no, Al Capone is dead.
That's right. Matt Vader said we met at Twin Peaks, which is like a kind of a strip club. Oh no! I did meet him at a strip club.
See, there you go.
The truth comes out.
The truth comes out.
Yeah. Oh well.
So, Alex, you and the Salty Crew are doing Star Wars month all this month, so that's really cool. And you guys pretty much timed it really good for the end of your Star Wars month on May 25th. But you did the prequel trilogies today. You got an upcoming one. You guys are going to do a rewatch of the original trilogy. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a must. That's going to come in week 3, though. So this coming, let's see, we're recording this week on Wednesday or Thursday. We're going to record, and then it'll be released on Monday. Let's look at the calendar real quick. Monday the 11th will be Solo, Rogue One, and Clone Wars discussion. And then on the 18th is the original trilogy. So you guys can look for that on the 18th. It's a Monday around 8 a.m. we will drop our full discussion on the original trilogy. And then on the 25th, we're going to be talking about the sequel trilogy. So we have a whole month planned out. And, of course, we have other episodes coming out in between that aren't Star Wars related, but because it's May, and it's kind of a funny story. We had planned on doing a Jean-Claude Van Damme dedicated episode in April sometime, and then we were going to release it in May. And then we realized that it was going to release on May the 4th. And I was like, no, we just pull that plug. We can't do that. I was like, we have to talk about Star Wars. And then we kind of like had a little production meeting where like, let's just make the whole month about it. We'll split it up per trilogy. And I'm like, perfect, let's do that. So I'm looking forward to it. We always have a ton of fun talking. And the sequel talk at the end of the month, that's going to be, if you guys think we were rough on the prequels, you wait until we get there.
Totally. Sounds like fun.
Bro, when are you going to fly down here? Cheap right now, man.
Yeah, soon. Whenever you guys start doing your secret project, definitely would love to help you guys out for a couple of days. That'd be fantastic. Secret stuff. So, Brad, what do we got planned for the Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast? We just released our Qui-Gon episode. People are enjoying that. And we got some new things coming up, don't we?
Yeah. I'm just trying to give stuff away, all except for R2-D2, which if Rachel doesn't get it, I might have to go in the witness protection program if Rachel doesn't get the R2. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But we got some good new episodes that we're talking about. Like we talked about the Rule of Two, the Legacy of Darth Bane. Hopefully we get that done soon. But I'd like to give some stuff away for Scare 2001, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. And we also have we'll give it away to people in the chat. Pat and Charles from Conversations wanted to give out a Lando Calrissian carded action figure, so we'll pick somebody to win that. And thank you, Pat and Charles over at Conversations.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before I give something away, invite everybody to on my personal account, Jedi Mind Trick 79 on Twitter. Please check out my pinned tweet. That's where I'm running the giveaway for Scarif 2001. It's not at all hard to enter that, as Rachel can attest to. She's currently got, I believe, 273 entries. That's just off the top of my head. I'm just estimating there, give or take. But anyway, check out that pinned tweet. That'll let you know how to enter into the Scarif 2001 giveaway. And today I asked the question, how are you celebrating Star Wars Day? And I did say the winner would be announced, so hopefully the winner was here earlier. Hopefully they're still here. If not, they're going to have to go back and watch, because I'm not going to announce it on Twitter. They have to watch this. So the winner of the Scarif 2001 challenge today is Joey Rosales.
Joey, he's been sweeping up the Star Wars swag, the Scarif swag.
Yep. So he posted, it's Star Wars Day. On this May the 4th, I'm celebrating by watching the films and playing Battlefront 2 with my squad. Oh, sweet. Joey's here. So, Joey, congratulations. You only get to win the pop if you answer this question correctly. What is the best class to play on Star Wars Battlefront 2? There's only one correct answer. Which soldier class is the best class? You better choose wisely. If you get it right, then you get the pop.
Joey's going to get a couple of boxes from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. He also won a couple of.
All right, close enough, Joey.
No,
all right.
You got wrong answer.
Heavy's number 2. Officer was number 1. That's how you cheat and get points, and so you can be a hero is using the officer class. But congratulations, Joey! You're getting multiple things. But hit me up on Twitter and let me know which one of those pops. I think it was Vader was given away yesterday or the day before for the Scarif 2001 challenge. So just hit me up and let me know what pop you want, and I'll get that out to you.
Very cool. Very cool. Anybody else got anything to give away? Alex, you got to take off?
I do.
Just
but I
Alex's
didn't want
sexy
I didn't
voice,
want to
that's all.
interrupt you guys, so finish up your little. What, I don't know. What's it called?
Scarif 2001.
Scarif 2001 giveaway. Go ahead and finish that up, and then I'll jet out of here.
I got one more thing to give away here, so don't leave. I have, last couple of weeks we've been giving away a lot of these really cool Star Wars Metal Earth 3D metal kits, and one went to Mr. Rez, and the other one went to Rural Farm Boy, and I got one more, and this one, I wish I can give this to you, Alex, because you just finished watching Solo, a Star Wars story, and you were talking about L3, but I got a Millennium Falcon Star Wars Metal Earth 3D kit. So let's think of a question for anybody that wants to win this Millennium Falcon. It's really cool. I built one of these with my son, and I cut my finger like 7 times in 8 places. So
I was going to say the same thing. Just watch your fingers on those.
just watch your fingers on these. They are so much fun, and they look really, really cool. Once they're built and they're put on the little stand, they are really, really great. And Alex, if I ever see a Tidarium shuttle as a metal 3D art, that's going to you, buddy.
I still got your B-wing you sent me. It's with me at all times when I'm recording podcasts. So.
That's awesome. All right, so Brad, let's think of a question for people in the chat. And let's see. So if you guys can name the people that were hidden in the Millennium Falcon's cargo hold during the original trilogy when they landed on the Death Star, there should be 4 people that were hidden in the cargo hold. If you can name them, that would be fantastic. You'll go home with a Metal Earth Star Wars Millennium Falcon. Anybody in the chat, please. 4 people. Was it 4 people? It was. Let's see. It was. Let's see.
Don't give it away.
You can't say their names out loud.
It was, and then and then down. All right.
4 people plus 2 or something else.
Yeah, that's true. But I'll take any names.
People too.
Oh, I think we got a winner. Perhaps. I think we got a winner. And the winner is Salty. Would you like to announce the winner? Looks like he's part of your crew.
Is it Vader?
Yeah.
He's still the strip club. Yeah.
Chewie, Han. He's got fat thumbs. Chewie, Han, Obi-Wan, and Luke. That is correct. Those are the 4 that are hiding.
Spelling counts. Matt doesn't win.
Abby-Wan. Abby-Wan. It's Obi-Wan's sister. You can tell he was really rushing.
I honestly never really thought about that before, but 3PO and R2 were on the Falcon 2, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, yes. They were in there too.
They never showed where they were hiding, did they?
No, I always assumed that they were still down there. It takes a while for them to be lifted up by whoever was going to lift them up. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I never really.
They were talking
just
with
watched the movie
L3
today. Yeah. Hey, congratulations, Matt Vader. I guess I'm going to get that Millennium Falcon figure anyway. I'm just going to steal it from you. Bring it to the next recording. I'll take it off your hands.
Take it off your hands. And, yeah, I mean, if anybody in the chat wants a Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast sticker, just DM us, and we'll be happy to send you a couple of the stickers.
Hold on, did Rachel answer first? I got her at 7:52.
Oh wait, there she is. Yeah, she is there, and in all caps.
Oh yeah.
Chewie, Han, Chewie, Obi-Wan, and Luke at 7:52. And then we got Cam
And
Ray
culture
at
to correct me.
753.
There she is.
And Matt Vader at 753. So actually, yeah, Rachel was the first one. Congratulations, Rachel.
Did we skip ahead? We must have skipped ahead in the chat because we missed Cam as well. Yeah, you're slow, Matt. Next time.
It's those thumbs.
It's the growing pains. We gotta work this whole live chat thing out.
Totally.
All right, guys. On
Rachel,
that note, I gotta get out of here. I got 2 kids that are probably like doing something they're not supposed to be doing right now.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex, for joining us on the Scarif Pod livecast. We'll see you out there in the world.
Yeah, of course. And thank you guys for letting me be a part of the Red 5 Network. Super excited to see where this goes, and I hope that we are the new norm in the fandom. I really do hope that we get some traction with this, and we spread the word, spread the love of Star Wars. And I hope everybody has a great night. Andrew, Marisha, Charlie, Brad, Ro, have a great night, everybody. And,
you too.
You guys on Twitter.
Take care, Alex. Thank you very much.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Everybody, may the 4th be with you.
That is great. You know what? I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of these and just send them out to everybody.
Yeah, I have a TIE Fighter one that I was working on at my lunch break at work. But then, of course, we got sent home and been home since February 29th. So it's still sitting in my drawer at work. Yeah, it's so I started doing other models. Like right now, I'm working on a what was this, a T-47 speeder.
Oh, nice.
So and then my Star Wars Legion stuff, and yeah, it's I really enjoy models.
Yeah, I saw some of the ones that you posted. They're pretty cool. Coruscant Radio Underground. You guys look intense.
My kids have been quiet for a really long time, so I'm kind of wondering what terrible things they're up to.
Maybe nothing wrong can come of that.
They're not asleep.
Maybe they fell asleep.
No, they're your children. They're not asleep until someone forces them to sleep.
That's funny. True story. Awesome. All right. Any final thoughts on our little adventure here on the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast? Again, I want to thank everybody in our chat room that kind of that decided to come by and show us some support and hear our announcement. I'm very excited to not only continue collaboration, but make new friends from other shows and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of work, but very, very rewarding.
Yep. Before we take off, I did want to make sure to say to you again, thank you for all the work that you did to get us ready to launch this today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's definitely a labor of love, and it's something that I know I enjoy sharing with all of you, my Star Wars family, and can't wait to continue to do that in the upcoming months, years, eons, whatever. But this is going to be a lot of fun, and I certainly appreciate all of your input as well. All members of the Red 5 Network, those that are not here, and you guys on screen as well. Love you guys.
You too. See, Never mind.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, not only does he do, the lion's share of the work, he won't even take credit for it. So get yourself a friend like Ro, y'all.
It's my pleasure. And then you too, guys. I mean, Brad, any final thoughts on this evening of May 4th? I know we got a couple hours left to help celebrate May 4th, but hey, tomorrow is Revenge of the 5th.
It is.
So it ain't over yet.
Bring on the dark side.
We'll have another announcement. No, that's too much, man.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Yeah.
Missed the memo.
Excellent. All right, guys. Any final thoughts, Brad? Co-conspirator here on the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast?
No conspiracies here. Okay, well, if you got time, no. I said before we started that this was the icing on the cake for today, and it really was. It was a pleasure talking with all you guys. There is still time. I still got an hour here on the Eastern Standard Time to celebrate some Star Wars. Time to play some Battlefront, get that in. But I like that you have your old hashtag on there, Ro, with enjoy Star Wars responsibly. We talked about The Last Jedi and got that always gets some people going. But in the end, we respect everybody's opinion. If that's your favorite movie out of the entire saga, more power to you. All right, we're not going to fault you for it, and it's your Star Wars. So that's all we ask is everybody respects everybody's opinion, and that's what we do here. So hopefully, I think Lauren knows that, but we want everybody to enjoy Star Wars responsibly and in their own way. But it's been a great May the 4th, and it's been really great spending some time with you guys tonight. So thank you.
And thank you very much for fixing your webcam.
Oh, yeah. One button away. One button away.
All right, guys. Thank you very much on behalf of the rest of the team behind the scenes at the Scarif Scuttlebutt Media Center. No, I don't know. Thank you very much for spending some time here with us. And guys, if you guys are still in the chat, don't forget to subscribe to most of our partner podcasts. Everybody here and everybody on the list, when you see it over at Red5 Network on Twitter, just check them out. They have some very unique voices and very great shows, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy them. So on that note, I want to thank everybody, and hope you guys have a rest of the day that is enjoyable. Go do something Star Wars. We still got some time left. May the Force be with you. Happy May 4th.
Thanks. Appreciate it. May the Force.
The Red 5 Network? The internet can't withstand the coolness of that magnitude!
What's up, everybody? I'm Salty from the Salty Nerd Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Andrew Gore from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Carla Jackalone, and I am Red 5.
I'm BP with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Rob, host of the Jedi Temple Archives Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Heather Allred, and I am Red 5.
I'm JD Barrow, and I'm Red 5.
Hey, this is Lauren from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonny Ravencourt of the University of Coruscant, and I'm Green 5. Red. Well, if they're any good, they'll just cut it in.
My name is Aaron Julian, and I am Red 5.
Pat Hoffman. Actually, Red 5.
I'm Marisha from Coruscant Radio Underground, and I am Red 5.
This is Slade with the Black Squadron Podcast, and I'm Red 5.
What's up? This is David with Black Squadron Podcast, and I am Red 5.
I'm Charles. And I'm Pat from Conversations Podcast.
And we are
Red 5.
This is Andrea from the Galactic Podcast, and I am Red 5.
This is Charlie Skywalker from Star Wars Through the Ages Podcast, and I am Red 5.
And this is Ro from the Scuttlebutt Podcast, coming to you live from the Red 5 Media Center. We are Red 5.